Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at Pat Verbeek's Anaheim Ducks. So the Anaheim Ducks were kind of quiet in free agency for the most part, right? They made two signings up front. Former Rangers, of course, coming in. They might as well be the Anaheim Rangers at this point. But we're taking a look at those moves they made and what has to be made, right? There's still moves that the Ducks can make. They have to re-sign Isaac Lundestrom, who's a restricted free agent. They also have to sign Urho Vatrano, as well as, again, they are $9 million under the cap floor. So they have to make some kind of move. And I don't see Lundestrom and Vatrano taking up $9 million of cap space. They're not done. They will be making more moves here. So I'm going to leave my predictions for what I think they're going to do. I'm also going to start them off with a summer report series that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But the Ducks overall, just a quick overview. They signed Frankie Vatrano to a 3-year deal, $3.65 million per season. No clauses in the trade, makes that a little bit easier. He's 28 years old. This will take him till he's 31, 32 years old, and he gets his quote-unquote big ticket. He's more of a guy that plays in the bottom six. He's a bigger guy. He was a pest. Like, I remember watching him with the Rangers. He's known to be a little bit of a diver. I have to be honest, I think I'm going to like him in Anaheim because if you're looking for a guy to replace Corey Perry, he reminds me a lot of Corey Perry with the way he plays, right? That little bit of an agitator, a little bit of a rat and a pest. And Ducks fans will love him. It's just everybody else on that coast is going to absolutely hate Frankie Vatrano. And worse, he scores goals. Again, kind of similar to Corey Perry. So I think Frank Vatrano is a great fit here. Again, reminds me a lot of Corey Perry. And I think this is a guy that can help them out immediately trying to score some goals. They also bring in Ryan Strome, 5-year deal, $25 million. So it's a $5 million per season cap hit. I think Ryan Strome is a great addition to the Anaheim Ducks. And I'm excited because I could cheer on Ryan Strome again, right? He was a New York Islander. He was drafted by the Islanders 5th overall back, I want to say in 2015, 16, somewhere around there. So he's been around the league now for almost a decade. Then he ended up going to Edmonton in the Eberle deal, ends up getting flipped back to New York to play with the New York Rangers. I really had a hard time cheering him on, but now he's in Anaheim. I really think this is a good piece for the Ducks. He was able to revitalize his career in New York with the Rangers, became the guy that he kind of was with the Islanders, kind of fell off at the end, but Strome has the scoring capability. But I have to admit, he is so frustrating in the sense that he will have games where he can give you a hat trick, or he can go 5 or 6 games on a goal streak, and then he'll be just bone dry for like a dozen games. So that's the thing with Ryan Strome that does concern me in that regard. But we did see with a pretty good Rangers team, he can score goals. And if he's in the right role on a second line, maybe first line wing alongside Zegras, he could be a really good piece there. And he's a guy that can play center or wing. So I think that Ryan Strome is a pure natural center. But I think with the Ducks' depth, he could go to the wing and still be valuable. Now, it depends on what the mindset is here, because right now, if you look at the Ducks lineup, and this is from Daily Faceoff, right now they have him listed as a second line center, and this is what I'm getting to. So right now you've got Henrique, Zegras, and Terry as your first line. Then you have Mason McTavish on the wing, Ryan Strome down the middle, and Frankie Vatrano on the right side. So that second line is just a shot in the arm to this team because McTavish didn't play here last year very much, right? He was here for a little bit. Ryan Strome and Vatrano are the newcomers, the new additions. So they just get a shot in the arm to their lineup. The Ducks instantly get better. And that's the thing. That's why the Ducks, you may be wondering, why haven't they made more trades and this and that? Because they don't have to necessarily, right? This is a team that you've got guys on the third line that could play in the top 6, or you'd like to play in the top 6. And that's why I don't think the Ducks are done yet, right? You've got Adam Henrique, who's up there. You could argue he could he could end up on the third line next year. It depends on how things work out. You have Isaac Lundestrom, Maxime Comtois, Jakob Silfverberg, Max Jones. Those are guys that can jump into the top six, whether that's injury or they take Henrique's spot in training camp. So the Ducks, there's going to be a lot of leeway there. Dallas Eakins is going to be drooling over his new lineup here. I think this is huge for them. They've gotten a lot better in that regard. Just, like I said, a shot in the arm to their forward depth, which is really nice. So again, the Ducks didn't make any crazy moves, but they added guys that are going to fill out their forward depth. And I think that's really an important piece for them. They also get a guy that could jump on the power play here with Ryan Strome. You also get a guy that can jump on the penalty kill potentially. Frankie Vatrano could play penalty kill. Right now they have Silfverberg and Jones on the penalty kill. But I could see Frankie Vatrano, in the event that one of those guys gets injured, he could jump into that role as well. Some may argue that Vatrano already fills a role they have, right? They have Silfverberg, they have Jones that are kind of that same mediated player, right? He's like a medium-level guy. He's not good enough to play on the top line, but he's kind of good enough to play on the second line, but is really good on the third line. He's one of those guys. But like I said, he brings that little bit of an edge and a rat pest kind of edge to him, and I think that's where he fits in for the Ducks. I'm excited to see what the Ducks do here because they have a lot of cap space still. And I think they're going to pull the Arizona Coyotes card here over the next couple of months. They don't need to use that cap space till opening night. So they have $9 million to work with. Say they make a big trade for Jacob Chikrin, or they make a big trade to bring in a James Van Riemsdyk, or pick your poison. Pick the guy, right? Vladimir Tarasenko would be a great fit in Anaheim. But that's what we're talking about, right? The Ducks have the cap space, and they have leverage over teams in a trade, in free agency, and maybe they weren't that attractive of an option to a lot of free agents, right? Because of where they finished in the standings last year and because of the uncertainty around John Gibson, right? Could Gibson get traded? I mean, that would hurt their salary situation even more if they do trade him. But Lucas Dostal is right there in the wings in San Diego, just begging to get to the National Hockey League. So I think this is going to be a really interesting offseason for the Ducks. Of course, when I post this video, something's going to come up and completely change that. But I expect Pat Verbeek to make more moves. So stay tuned this offseason because I think the Ducks will be making more transactions here. They kind of have to, right? $9 million under the cap floor. They have to make some kind of moves. So keep an eye out for that. Guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and let's go Ducks.